Hello everyone, Weather Jamaica here. Welcome to this updated video on the weather across Jamaica and the rest of the Caribbean. It is Tuesday evening, January 14, 2025. Now before we jump into it, please ensure that you guys like the video. I'd really appreciate it if you guys get this video up to 100 likes. If you don't know by now, that's how the YouTube algorithm works. We all like the video and then the YouTube algorithm pushes the video out to more persons who are in the path of these tropical systems so that we can keep everyone safe, especially during the peak months of Atlantic hurricane season. That's August through to October. Share this video with your friends, your co-workers, your relatives, and even your church brethren, and subscribe if you haven't yet done so. Please ensure that you guys utilize the progress bar that's located at the bottom of the video, as well as the timestamps that are located not only in the comment section but the video description, so that you can skip to the points in the video that you want to see the most in order to save time, because we know that the videos over here with the Jamaica can be very long. Leave a comment down below letting me know what that's been like in your year recently. Also feel free to ask any weather related question that you might have about the future of the weather in your specific area. Alright, so we're going to be looking at the Global Tropics Hazards Outlook from the US Climate Prediction Center that just came out today by the forecaster Novella, and that person stated that for January 22 to January 28 across the Caribbean we're going to be seeing some amount of slight greens reaching from the Eastern Caribbean to the Western Caribbean, increasing in intensity in the darker greens across the Western and Southwestern Caribbean, and we see all of that represents what we see on the key on the bottom. That's above average rainfall. There's even portions of Jamaica that's shaded in those slight greens, so we might just get on some above normal rainfall for January 22 to January 28. Then we see that for the time period from January 29 to February 4, most of the above normal rainfall is going to be to the west of us as well as to the southwest of us, while the central to the Eastern Caribbean should be getting average conditions. So no tropical cyclone formation probability, no above normal rainfall, no below normal rainfall, no above normal temperatures or below normal temperatures. So just normal conditions in general for that time period. Either way, we know that whatever the Global Tropics Hazard Outlook from the US Climate Prediction Center state is not really set in stone, so we have to take these forecasts with a grain of salt. Either way, whatever takes place, I'll definitely be here to keep you posted as time goes on. Alright, so we're going to be looking at what the latest Euro and the latest GFS supercomputer models are showing. As usual, we're going to be going out to the next 168 hours, so focus your attention on the timestamp right here at the top as we look for the rainfall totals in inches as represented by the greens all the way up into the yellows, oranges, reds. And as usual, we're going to be looking at Jamaica, seeing what's going to be taking place over the next 7 days. So this Euro model just came out at 3:30 p.m. today, and we can see that as we head into Wednesday, we have some dots of greens in and around the island, maybe some isolated shores, but that's just according to the Euro. As according to the GFS, I wouldn't see much of anything for Wednesday at all. Heading into Thursday, we see some dots of greens across the northeast, maybe Portland, St. Mary. Friday across northern parishes according to the Euro. We also see some rainfall across the southern to the central and eastern Caribbean, as well as sections of western Cuba, the Yucatan Peninsula right there. Heading into Saturday, not much of anything across Jamaica, but we still see that moisture from the southwestern Caribbean into the central and eastern Caribbean for sure. Heading into Sunday, what do we see? Most of the rainfall is to the south of the island of Jamaica, across the southwestern Caribbean, across the central and the eastern Caribbean. Some rainfall right here off the east coast of the US into Florida, all the way into the Gulf of Mexico. And then as we head into Monday, look at this, we're seeing some of the rainfall that was to the south of us now affecting eastern Jamaica, some of it across western, southwestern, southern and eastern parishes for sure. And then we're going to be stopping it right here at the end of the 168 hours. So this is valid for Tuesday, January 21. And we can see that there's going to be a lot of moisture across the Gulf of Mexico, touching all the way across into portions of Florida. Some moisture to the south of Jamaica, the southwestern Caribbean, the central and eastern Caribbean. And we also see some moisture to the north of Jamaica. Let us match this latest Euro model to the latest GFS model that just came out an hour ago. So we can see that as we head into Wednesday, not much of anything being predicted, just like what we saw. Well, just like what was mentioned, the GFS is not that impressed with the forecast for tomorrow, but the Euro definitely is. We'll see exactly what unfolds. Heading into Thursday, we see some isolated shores across the northeast into Friday right there, early morning Friday. Heading into Saturday, just like what the Euro was showing, most of the rainfall is across the southwestern to the central and eastern portions of the Caribbean. Heading into Sunday, however, we're starting to see that moisture associated with more than likely a frontal system right here off the east coast of the US, stretching down into Florida and the Gulf of Mexico right there. Then Monday, we see some moisture across the western and southwestern Caribbean into the south central and eastern Caribbean. And we're going to be stopping it right here at the end of the 168 hours. So this is valid for Tuesday, January 21. And we can see that both the Euro and the GFS models are adamant that the western Gulf of Mexico should be very moist. Look at all of the greens into the dark greens. That represents up to maybe 3 to 5 inches of rainfall near Texas, northeastern Mexico. We also see some moisture near the Yucatan, as well as sections of southwestern portions of the Caribbean. We even see some moisture lingering to the waters to the south of Hispaniola, Puerto Rico, right here all the way into the eastern Caribbean. Very interesting forecast. We'll see exactly what unfolds. Either way, in terms of the accumulated precipitation forecast for the next 7 days, clearly we see that the most rainfall should be across section of the Yucatan. We're talking about Belize, sections up eastern Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Panama, sections of Colombia, western Venezuela, northern Venezuela, and we're talking about the ABC Islands into portions of the Windward Islands for sure. And we see that both the Euro and the GFS models are in consensus in the fact that these areas are going to be picking up the most in the way of rainfall over the next 7 days. So we could get some isolated flash flooding taking place. We're talking about the reds into the dark reds, into the purples, into the pinks, into the peach colors. That represents 1 all the way up to 8 inches of rainfall. More so anywhere from 2 to 3 inches of rainfall, especially across these areas of Central America. And we see that both the Euro and the GFS models are in consensus with this forecast. I know that when they're in consensus like this, the chances are higher for this to take place. Either way, in terms of Jamaica's forecast, not much change we see. Not over the next 7 days. Let's load up this one. 168 hours out for the GFS. We see the Euro definitely adamant that northern parishes are going to be getting in on the brunt of the rainfall over the next 7 days. We see the dark blues into the greens that represents anywhere from 1 millimeter all the way up to 30 millimeters of rainfall, especially across Portland. Some of this spilling into eastern St. Thomas. The GFS definitely adamant that there's going to be some blues that represent rainfall across northern parishes, sections of Portland, eastern St. Thomas for sure, all the way up to the 29 millimeters of rainfall. Very interesting. We'll see exactly what unfolds. I'll definitely be here to keep you posted with what occurs. Either way, it is the season for Portland to be getting the brunt of the rainfall for sure. Taking a look at the surface map of the Atlantic for this evening, you can see a cold front stretching all the way from northern portion of North Atlantic all the way down into portion of the Bahamas, right there between Florida and Cuba. We can see a ridge of high pressure right here to the north of Hispaniola, and we know that's responsible for sending all of the easterly trade winds across the Caribbean from east to west. We also see some broken orange lines right here associated with a trough stretching all the way up from the northern portion of North Atlantic all the way down into the eastern Caribbean and the southern Caribbean, and to the west of that trough we have a cold front reaching all the way from northern portion of North Atlantic all the way down into the Leeward Islands for sure. And if we take a look at the visible satellite images of the Atlantic before the sun went down, we can make out all of these entities. We can firstly see the clouds associated with the frontal system stretching right here all the way down between Florida and Cuba. We see the clouds right there. We can also see the clouds associated firstly with the trough right here stretching all the way down into the southern Caribbean. We're talking about the ABC Islands, stretching all the way from Dominica, Martinique, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and Grenadines. And we can make out the clouds associated with the frontal system right here, reaching all the way down into the Leeward Islands right here to the south of Puerto Rico and the Dominican Republic. We'll be talking more about the rest of the Caribbean later on. Let us focus our attention on the prediction that was made in yesterday's video about the weather across Jamaica for today, Tuesday, January 14, 2025. If you remember yesterday's video, not much was in the forecast, especially for Tuesday afternoon. But if you remember, maybe something for northern Jamaica during the morning. But when that was checked, it was more so partly cloudy skies. Maybe some isolated showers. Confirm for me if you live on the north coast Was it raining this morning? Let me know. Either way, we know northern parishes. We're talking about Hanover, St. James, Trelawney, St. Anne, St. Mary, Portland. And if we take a look at the visible satellite images of Jamaica before the sun went down, we can see that we were definitely getting on more of an east-northeasterly kind of flow, bringing some partly cloudy skies to Portland. Nothing significant. Maybe some partly cloudy skies across section of St. Elizabeth as well. And we can see clear, very fair weather across the rest of the island. It is the dry season. Not much in the way of rainfall at all, especially with the abundance of dry air across the Atlantic. Even the infrared close-up satellite images are confirming not much of anything's taking place. Don't see any high cold cloud tops. Don't even see any cirrus clouds. So we're not getting on that strong upper level southwesterly flow anymore. We don't see the blues, greens, yellows, oranges, or reds represents that thunderstorm activity at all. It is the dry season. The thunderstorm season is long over. And we definitely have the live camera from See Jamaica's YouTube channel showing us, I believe this is New Kingston, if I'm not mistaken. And we can see that there is not much of anything taking place today at around 2:40 p.m. Definitely dry conditions for sure. Sunny weather, not much in the way of cloudy skies or rainfall taking place at all. And I'd like for you to keep in mind that if you'd like to see more live streams like this, just visit See Jamaica on YouTube. That channel not only shows the panoramic city view that you're seeing here, but Halfway Tree, Crossroads, the Kingston Harbor, even Flat Bridge in St. Catherine. And they're planning on increasing the amount of cameras that they have in and around the island. So subscribe today so that you don't miss out. Taking a look at the accumulated precipitation for the past 24 hours from the Caribbean Institute for Meteorology and Hydrology website, this map is showing that we didn't have much in the way of anything across the island today. Don't see the purples into the blues, greens, yellows, oranges, or anything like that that represents millimeters of rainfall across the island. Definitely clear and fair conditions throughout the day. And if we take a look at the very latest still image from the Weather Nerds website, we can see the latest still images as of 23:55 UTC. So that is about 6:55 p.m. And considering that it's 7:12 p.m. right now, not seeing much of anything across the island at all. Definitely clear conditions. Not seeing the milky white colors that represent cloud cover. Even the Cuban Doppler radar images, when reloaded, not showing much of anything across the island. If you're seeing colors right here across section of northern parishes, all of that is representative of ground clutter. That's just a glitch on the Cuban Doppler radar. This is why we need the Jamaican Doppler radar to confirm. Either way, the latest is as of 7:10, and we don't see much of anything in terms of rainfall at all across the island. Even the Guantanamo Bay Cuban Naval Radar imagery not showing much of anything across eastern Cuba, western Haiti, or even northeastern Jamaica, as well as the Cayman radar not showing much of anything across western Jamaica, southern Cuba, or the Cayman Islands as we speak. Definitely fair weather these days for sure. And if you take a look at the very latest from See Jamaica's YouTube channel showing the Flatbridge cam, we can see that as of 7:13 p.m. that's the time right now. We can see that there's not much of anything taking place across the Rio Cobre. Definitely chill. Not much in the way of wet weather. Definitely dry conditions. But people in their vehicles right here going about their business. Nothing significant in terms of bad weather taking place at all. If we take a look at the temperatures right now, we can see we have 25 degrees Celsius in both Montego Bay and Kingston. And by about 4 a.m. on Wednesday, temperature should dip down to about 24 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 22 degrees Celsius in Kingston. Taking a look at the temperature forecast for tomorrow, this map from the GFS is valid for 18D on Wednesday, which is actually 1 p.m. on Wednesday, and we can see Jamaica right here, embedded in some grays as well as some slight orange colors that represents average to slightly above average temperature, so maybe up to 1, maybe close to 2 degrees Celsius above normal temperatures. You know the normal temperature for the month of January across Jamaica is around 86.5 degrees Fahrenheit. And when that's converted to degrees Celsius that we use here in Jamaica, that's about 30.2 degrees Celsius. So you should be receiving anywhere from 30.2 all the way up to 32.2 degrees Celsius at most for Jamaica's temperature on Wednesday. Excuse me. And we have right here some maintenance outage advisories out from the MyJPS online Twitter page for Wednesday, January 15. The first one is for Toby Heights in St. Catherine between the hours of 8:30 a.m. and 6 p.m. We also have another one for Berry Hill and Newbury via Ryde District in the parish of Manchester from 9:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. We have Maryland, Peters Rock, Woodford and Environs. That's in the parish of St. Andrew, 9:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. We have Friendship in the parish of Trelawney, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. And finally, we have Bamboo and Kima, or Kaima, if I'm not butchering that place's name, from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. in St. And so, if you live or work in those areas, or if you have friends or relatives who live or work in those areas, let them know that a power outage is coming their way. I like to highlight these because you know that when we have power outages, it can definitely exacerbate the heat. We don't have our fan or our AC to cool us down, definitely making us feel hotter than normal. Either way, we have some tips right here to beat the heat as usual. When outside, seek shade. Eat fresh. Try eating cold food such as salads and fruits. Rest. Make sure you get enough sleep and rest if you're feeling tired. Soak. Take a cool shower or bath to help you cool down. And I cannot stress enough the importance of staying hydrated. Drink lots of water even if you're not thirsty throughout the day. Put away the sugar drinks. Drink lots of water instead. Taking a look at the dry air map, not much change. We know the dry air is represented by what we see here on the key on the bottom. The yellows, oranges, reds, whites within those reds. Excuse me. And we can see that we have a lot of dry air stretching all the way from Africa across the main development region to the Caribbean and the Gulf of Mexico. Definitely dry air. That's the reason why we're not having much in the way of rainfall across our neck of the woods these days. And we see that even the Saharan does forecast for 2 p.m. on Wednesday. Definitely not here across the Caribbean, the US, Central America, or Northern South America. But we see the slight burns that represent the Saharan dust right here across portion of the main development region. And that's basically it. We don't have a huge plume represented by the dark shades of browns that's pushing westward at all. And we know we're grateful for that because we know that can cause very hazy skies. Not to mention trigger some amount of respiratory illnesses in some people. So we're glad that for now it's stable across the main development region. Taking a look at the wave forecast for tomorrow, we see a mixture of the light blues into the dark blues and the purples. That represents anywhere from 0.5 meter wave height all the way up to 2, maybe all the way up to 3 meter wave heights. To the north of Jamaica, we see 1.3 meter wave heights. Jamaica's south coast, 1.1 meter wave heights. On the southeastern side though, up to 2 meter wave heights, and that's because of the winds that are going to be expected. We see more of a northeasterly flow across sections of Cuba, curving westward across the western Caribbean. More of a northeasterly flow across Jamaica. More of a northeasterly flow from Hispaniola all the way down to the southwestern Caribbean. Even across the Leeward Islands, more of a northeasterly flow, but the Windward Islands seem to be getting more of an east-northeasterly to easterly flow right here, and we see that there's a mixture of the bright greens into the slight yellows. They're represented from 10 to 15 all the way up to 20, maybe up to 25 knots. But if we take a closer look at Jamaica regarding these winds, yes, we have a northeasterly flow for sure, but what about the wind speeds? Gonna be up to what? That's about 12-13 knots on the north coast. Definitely gonna be stronger. We have these strong winds from the windward passage between Cuba and Haiti, all the way up to 60 knots right here to the northeast of Portland. To the south of St. Thomas up to 18 knots. Either way, we see that there's going to be the least amount of winds on the south coast tomorrow. 2 knots in St. Catherine, 5 knots in St. Elizabeth. Not strong at all. If this wasn't the dry season, we would have had a lot of air piling up here, maybe, causing some diurnal convection, daytime heating, leading to some amount of rainfall. But it's a dry season, and unfortunately, we have a lot of dry sinking air, prohibiting the amount of rainfall across the year. So more than likely the afternoon rainfall definitely not gonna be possible across the south coast, but who knows, maybe some of this northeasterly flow might bring some relief rainfall to the northeastern parishes. Maybe St. Thomas, well, not St. Thomas, St. Mary, Portland, maybe some relief rainfall. All of that northeasterly flow causing condensation, then these clouds getting heavy. Maybe some isolated showers across the northeast. We'll see exactly what unfolds. Either way, the upper level winds, we see that there is one big spot right here across the Greater Antilles into the northeastern Caribbean. not receiving much in the way of wind shear at all. You know, the wind shear is represented by what we see here in the kit, right? As the blues into the greens, yellows, oranges, reds, all the way up into the purples. So that there's a huge amount of wind shear across the southern and southeastern United States. But right here across Jamaica, not much in the way of wind shear at all. If anything, some slight wind shear from the southeast. Taking a look at the rain forecast for tomorrow. This map from the Euro and this map from the GFS are both valid for 8 a.m. on Wednesday. And clearly, just like what we stated earlier, the Euro, for some reason, is showing blues to represent rainfall. And we see that across the north. We're talking about maybe St. Ann, St. Mary, Portland. The GFS, not as impressed at all with that. But look at that. We're seeing the blues represent rainfall to the south of eastern Jamaica. We're seeing it right here as well. We'll see exactly what unfolds at that time, 8 a.m. If something happens, a post will definitely be made on another social media platform. Even on the 4 p.m. outlook, we see some slight blues to the southeast of us, some isolated showers on both maps, but clearly not much of anything across the entire island. I see a speck of blue across St. Elizabeth. I see a speck of blue across western Portland that represents isolated shores. But the GFS, not much in the way of anything. So we have some contrast. We have some similarities out to sea though. We'll see exactly what unfolds either way. Both accumulated precipitation forecast maps are showing something different. The Euro showing the dots of greens here and there across the north and across the east. GFS not so much. We'll see exactly what unfolds over the next 24 hours for sure. I'll definitely keep you posted. Either way, the lack of rainfall these days is expected. We're in the month of January, and in Kingston, whose bar graph is being shown right here at the top, we usually receive up to at least 20 millimeters of rainfall. That's close to an inch of rainfall. In Montego Bay, whose bar graph is being shown right here at the bottom, we usually receive up to 3 inches of rainfall. That's about 75 millimeters of rainfall. And I'd like for you to keep in mind that if you'd like to find out what your specific parish usually receives for the month of January or for the entire year in terms of rainfall, you can visit www.weather-and-climate.com, and that website will show you that information. And you can use this nice little graphic right here that converts rainfall from inches to millimeters that we receive on the rain gauge. We know that 1 inch of rainfall is about the same as 25 millimeters of rainfall, so you can do the calculations yourself. Alright, so that's it for the forecast across Jamaica. Let us focus our attention on the rest of the Caribbean. So as stated, we have some showers associated with the clouds of the cold front across sections of Bahamas, southern Florida, western Cuba. We also see some activity right here from, let's say this is Dominica, Martinique, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, all the way down into the ABC Islands. I'm sure the people of the ABC Islands are happy for the isolated shore activity that they're experiencing. So too sections of eastern Venezuela, section of Guyana. We also see some activity across the Leeward Islands, maybe Anguilla, Antigua and Barbuda, the US and British Virgin Islands, St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Martin might be getting on some of the isolated shore activity. Let us look at the Doppler radar images to confirm this. So yes, we can see the dots of greens here and there to the south of the US and British Virgin Islands. And if we load these images from earlier today, we can definitely see what was taking place. Alright, I'm guessing we're going to be seeing more of a northeasterly flow for sure with the isolated showers. I think we can make out the isolated showers, but it's more so scattered. Nothing too significant at all. We see a lot of that to the south of the US and British Virgin Islands. We also see some of it across St. Martin, just like what we stated earlier, passing to the north and to the west of St. Kitts and Nevis as well. And if we take a look at the Barbados radar, we can see that east-northeasterly or northeasterly flow bring that light to moderate rainfall into portions of Martinique, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Grenada, section of Barbados, especially eastern Barbados, getting on some of the action too. Don't see much taking place across Trinidad and Tobago at this time. But if we take a look at the weather wave Doppler radar images, we can definitely make out that rainfall that's currently affecting sections of the ABC Islands. We can also make out some isolated showers to the east of Belize as we speak. Some rain bands right here to the east of the southeastern portion of Nicaragua right there. And if we take a look at where the rainfall is expected within the next 24 hours, both maps here from the Euro and the GFS are showing all the rainfall expected from now up until 10 p.m. on Wednesday. And we can clearly see this strand of showers associated with each system. More than likely right here into the Leeward Island, that's the cold front showers. affecting portion of Anguilla, Antigua and Barbuda, all the way down into portion of the East Central Caribbean, as well as section of the ABC Islands. We also see the rainfall associated with the trough that we mentioned on the surface map. That's going to be affecting portion of Martinique, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Grenada, all the way down into portions of the ABC Islands and northern South America. And we see that both the Euro and the JFS models are in consensus with that. We can also see that rainfall is in store associated with that frontal system for portions of that area to the north of the Yucatan Peninsula. Some isolated showers. We also see some rainfall in store for section of northern Guatemala, Belize, southeastern Nicaragua, much of Costa Rica, sections of Panama, western Colombia, Guyana. And if we look closely, we see that both the Euro and the JFS models in agreement with this forecast. I know that when they're in agreement like this, the chances of it actually happening are much higher. Alright, so that's it for today. Thanks for watching.